Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been like a year and 5 months since I recorded a video. So I'm just going to be doing a chit chat get ready with me. So let's do it. So I'm going to be more talking about what's been happening than actually like the makeup, because it's just going to be a pretty basic everyday makeup. So I'm just going to start with primer. I got the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. It's actually pretty good, even though I do have dry skin. I just put it on where my pores are, obviously. I know some people do put it all over their face, but it's just a bit too dry for mine for that. So the last video I recorded was what was it? It was testing the Flibber Beauty foundation, and it did not go well on my skin. It made my skin look very dry. And it turns out I was actually pregnant. I now have a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old baby. It's literally just insane. It is honestly just flew in. So I found out I was pregnant a week before Christmas in 2018. Is that right? Yes, 2018. My brain is like mush. I've got like double dose of baby brain, so it's kind of hard to remember some things. I just don't know why that happens, but there we go. So I found out like a week before Christmas that I was pregnant, and I'm just using my viewfinder to put this on. And George had just turned 1 in October, but we wanted our kids to be like close in age anyway. We wanted them to be like 2 years apart. My dad had just stopped at the door just to make sure that I was okay. I don't even remember the last time I seen my dad because of all of this that is going on, so it was really nice to see my dad. And yes, we were social distancing. But see, these are so annoying. So I'd found out a week before Christmas that I was pregnant, and I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be like the best Christmas present for everybody. Like telling them that we are having another baby. But then, you know, I had some points where I was like, I really just need to tell somebody that I am pregnant. I cannot hold this to myself. But I managed to keep it in, and I making a mess and noise. So we waited until Christmas Day to tell everyone that we were having another baby, and we'd went up to mum's for Christmas to do like presents and stuff, because, well, just because it's Christmas, to do presents, and obviously for George to get his presents. And we opened our presents from mum and Nat, and then mum and Nat opened their presents from us, and I was like, oh, I've got another present for you. And like, obviously I wasn't holding anything. Mum's just like, and I was like, I'm pregnant, and she's like, what? So I was too busy looking at mum, and I turned around and my wee sister Rebecca is standing crying because she's so happy. So then mum ends up crying, then I'm nearly crying, and oh, it was honestly amazing. Like, it was so good. So after that, we came back down the house for George to go for a nap, and to see his other gran and aunties. So once they'd came down, we told Scott's mum, his brother and his sister-in-law that we were having another baby, and they were also happy as well, because it was amazing because Scott's brother and sister-in-law, they were having a baby at the same time. So they had our wee niece Ivy in April 2019, and we had our baby in August. We got a scan, and we had to get an early scan. Normally here in Scotland, the UK, you get a scan when you are roughly about 12 weeks. We got a scan when I was around about 8 weeks. Was it 8 weeks? I think it was around about 8 weeks because I was bleeding a wee bit, and obviously bleeding can be a sign of miscarriage, but it was just I was going to say implantation. It's just bleeding from like the egg attaching on to the womb lining. Is that the right term? I don't know. Probably should know. I've had 2 kids, but I don't know. So we had that scan and everything was perfect. Nothing wrong with baby at all. Then we had our 12-week scan, and again, everything was perfect. Just going to contour on that. I completely lost my train of thought. So we went for the 20-week scan and everything was perfect again. We had to ask about the baby's feet because when I was pregnant with George, because I'm so small, like I'm quite petite, so when I was pregnant with George didn't have enough room to like grow out because I'm a tiny person, so like he was literally inside me with his knees up at his shoulders and his feet were crossed over like this, so his right foot ended up turned in slightly. It wasn't bad or anything, I just blinded. It wasn't bad or anything. We could fix it with some exercises after he was born, so we had to ask about that at the 20-week scan, but everything was perfect because George already made that room for him. So we decided not to find out the gender. We done a gender reveal for this little baby, and I think it was, I had my scan on the Monday or the Tuesday, and then it was on the Saturday that we were having the gender reveal. I'm just reaching for my brushes that I've set on the end of my bed. So we had the party, just friends, family, you know, the usual people that you'd invite to a gender reveal, and we done the balloon. Excuse me, why? Okay, let's just blend that out. So we had a bouncy castle for all the kids, hundreds of food. I made cake pops. See how like the cakes that are shaped in balls that you put the stick into, so it's kind of like a lolly but it's not, it's a cake. Cake pops, I'm pretty sure you know what cake pops are. So I'd made them. I don't even know how many of them I made. I never want to see a cake pop again after that. That was not fun making them, especially not all the failed attempts. They turned out alright, not what I wanted them to be, but I did it, that's the point. So we done that, and then when it got to the time to reveal the gender, we done the popping the balloon. So me, Scott and George stood and I popped the balloon, but when it was in the black balloon, and then obviously it had the coloured confetti in it, so when I popped it, it literally just went shh, and I'm staring because you couldn't tell what colour it was, and I'm like, in the video I'm like staring, and then I see it's balloon, I'm like, ah, it's a boy. And I'm just like, hey, so it's a boy. We had another boy. We called him Logan. Everybody hated his name to start with, but you know, I liked it, Scott liked it, so there we have Logan. So then after that, everything was pretty normal. I'd say I'd had a normal pregnancy. I mean, you know, with being tired and very crabbed, I don't do well when I don't have that much sleep, and I was getting as much sleep as possible while being pregnant, but see, running after a 1-year-old, that is hard when you have a giant belly and no energy and just want to sit and eat and sleep all the time. It is hard being pregnant, having another child to care for and to give all your attention to. It is hard, but you know, I did it. I think the only things that were kind of wrong with the pregnancy were obviously like the usual pains and stuff that come with being pregnant, like with George, because again, I'm so small, my ribs separated to make room for George, and then one of the muscles in the front of, like on the top bit of my belly, that ripped to make more room for George. So with Logan, I didn't really have any of that. My ribs were a wee bit sore, not too bad. It was more in my hips, my pelvis, because he was a bigger baby than George when I was pregnant with George, because obviously I am so skinny. We had more scans just to make sure that George was growing properly, and when George was born it was 7 pounds 10 ounces. So he was a good week, and that was me being induced 2 weeks early. So he was a good week for me being 2 weeks early. So when I was at the hospital for my 20-week scan, my doctor was telling me that everything was completely normal with Logan, and that I didn't need to worry about him being small or growing differently or anything like we did with George, which was obviously great. So, you know, I was a wee bit worried about that because, again, I am small. So I was kind of worried about having a big baby because when George was born, he was 7'10", like I just said, and I ripped, like that was a 3rd degree tear that I had because of my beautiful sweet child of mine. So when it says that Logan's growing normally, he's going to be like the normal size of a baby, I was kind of like, what's the normal size of the baby? What size is he going to be when he comes out? What is going to happen to me when he comes out? But, you know, just had to go with what they said. So I think it was my 38-week appointment that I went in for, just to see, you know, how I was feeling and stuff like that. And no, feeling good, feeling sore, but you know, it's just one of the things about being pregnant. So we agreed that when I was pregnant with George, I got induced at 38 weeks, 4 days or something like that, but we weren't going to do that this time with Logan. We decided that I was just going to go full term. So it got to a couple of days before my due date, and I went in for a sweep. Sweeps are painful and do not work. I had a sweep with George, did nothing. Sweep with Logan, did nothing. So I got my sweep and then went home, waited to see if anything else would happen. I was booked in to go in and get induced 2 days after my due date. So if I didn't go by myself and then in that time, then I was to go in and get my waters booked to induce labour. So we did that. I didn't go into labour by myself again. So we'd went in to get my waters broke. I was to be there for 8:30 in the morning. I got there at like 8:20, and then I sat until 5:30 at night for a bed in the labour ward. So I spent all day waiting to go give birth. Finally, there was a bed for me at 5:30 in the evening. So I'd went down and they'd tried to break my waters. The doctor couldn't get my waters. So 5 minutes of him trying to get my waters and quite a bit of pain for me. He eventually managed to break them, and my contraction started like 3-4 minutes after. Apparently when I get my waters broke, that is just me in labour, because the same happened with George. When they broke my waters, my contractions started straight away, so that just must be my thing for when I'm in labour. So they broke my waters, and then pretty much everything just happened from there. With George, I was in labour for about, I think it was 9 hours. I think it was round about 9 hours, was it? It was round about between 7 and 9 hours that George was born. I honestly can't remember right now, and I feel so bad, but I can't remember. So it was between 7 and 9 hours for George to be born. With Logan, it was 4 and a bit hours, and he was here, and my precious little baby was £8.13. No, £8.11. How? I honestly don't understand how my tiny wee body made an £8 why do I keep on saying 13? 11-ounce baby. Like, I honestly don't know how I made a baby that big when I am so small. It honestly just baffles me. And after all the midwives in MD that I'd seen, they're like, oh, what weight is he? And I'm like, oh, he's £8.11. And they're like, what? Are you sure? Yes, I pushed him out, I am sure. The labour had went pretty well. I wanted to do it without getting an epidural. I got an epidural with George, but I got it with George quite near the start because they'd gave me whatever tablets, and it made me feel out my face. It had cocodamol in, a bit of cocodamol in it, and I was away with it. I was out my face, so obviously I can't have that. So I managed to get to like 9 centimetres, and I got the epidural literally just to push him out, which is good because obviously, you know, I didn't have that pain because I did rip again. Not a 3rd degree tear, just a 2nd degree tear, so it wasn't as bad, but you know, I still ripped. But it's honestly just amazing having a baby. Like, I don't even have the words to describe like how amazing and perfect these just tiny wee people are, and how they literally just need to move like the arm from here to here, and it just melts your heart. Like, honestly, it is insane. I've just finished carving something in my eye. I've just finished cleaning up my eyebrows. I just fixed them quickly. I'll be honest, I don't really know what's happening with this one, but this one looks pretty decent. So where was I don't even know, but basically Logan was born, and you know, it definitely changes your life having a child, but having two is, you need to find the balance. Obviously George was 1, nearly turning 2 when Logan was born, so you know, he was able to like up and go walk and play with his toys, like do his own thing, which made it easier for me for when feeding Logan and stuff, because you know, I didn't need to worry about like falling. And well, he could still fall, but he's pretty sturdy on his feet because he's been walking since he was 9 months old, and he was, what have I just done? You can't even see it that much. So he'd been walking since he was 9 months old, and he's such a good boy, so I wasn't really worried about him. Like, I could leave him to do his own things while feeding Logan. But I don't know, after I had Logan, like, I just felt like nobody really talks about how like you can feel down and stuff after having a baby. Like with George, like never had any of this. I felt amazing. I was just so happy. After I had Logan, I felt kind of empty inside. Not in like a bad way towards Logan or George or anything. Like, I love them with all my heart and nothing is ever going to change that. It was just going, I think it was more from going to being pregnant to not being pregnant and having to obviously deal with 2 children pretty much by myself. Not that their dad's not there. He's here. He's my boyfriend. He just works a lot, so it's pretty much me and the kids. Monday to Friday, it's pretty much just me and the kids. So, you know, it was a wee bit a lot to deal with. On my down days, on my good days, we were great. But if one of us were having a down day, pretty much all of us were having a down day. It was just one of the things. It still kind of mostly is like that, but you know, it's not too bad anymore. You know, Logan is 8 months now. How do I have an 8-month-old baby and a 2.5-year-old? So Logan's 8 months now. He's, I was going to say he's crawling, but he started like kind of army crawling, where he on his belly, and instead of like, you know, army crawling, he would slap his hands on the ground and just slide, just pull himself along the floor, drag himself along, and you know when he was coming because all you heard was off of the ground, which is so funny. And then he learned how to sit up on his bum, so now when he's going forward onto his knees, he puts his left knee down, crawls with his left knee, but his right knee is in the air because he's on his foot, so he like crawls with his left knee and walks with his right knee. It is the weirdest and funniest thing ever. He's like George, where George started walking when you were like holding him when he was 6 months. Logan started doing that at 5 months because of watching George, and he loves George so much. He just looks at him and his wee face just lights up. It loves George and so much. And to start with, George was just like, okay, you're a baby, whatever, you know, which is fair enough for a toddler. And then he got to the point where Logan would touch him and he'd be like, he touched me, poo boo. And I'm like, you don't have a boo boo, he only touched you, you're fine, it's okay. And now we're at the point where Logan touches him and he's like, he hit me, this is great. So we kind of went through it all. This little tiny dot happened, which is not liked or welcomed. So yeah, I had a baby, and that's why I haven't been recording. I'm using the collection lipstick in the shade Fud. No, it is not Fud, it is Fudge Delight. That would not be a good name for a lipstick. I'll be honest, not really looking forward to editing this, because like I said, my thoughts are all over the place. I've got like 157 things going through my head at the one time. But I'm just nervous, I suppose. I don't know why, because you know, I've done this before. I need to keep on looking at myself instead of looking there. I am actually looking at myself because of how blonde my hair looks. My hair is not this blonde. Like, the sun in the camera is making my hair look blonder than what it actually is. See what I mean? Thoughts away, scrambled. Also hate these bits. That's something else that nobody tells you when you're pregnant, that after you give birth, your hair will fall out. If your hair didn't fall out after you gave birth, that's amazing for you. My hair fell out with George and Logan. Tigger, what are you doing? My hair fell out all the way round my hairline with Tigger and Logan. Tigger? No. George. Fucking hell. I nearly said that again. with George and Logan, and this is it just growing back in. 8 months it's taken for it to get to this. So I'm going to stop talking now because I've literally just rambled for I think about 10 minutes, and I'll be honest, I don't really know what I said. I feel sorry for future Natasha editing this video, and I think I feel sorry for you guys as well listening to my jumbled rambles. I was going to say that does not sound right. My rambling, that is, I think that's how the saying goes. Ah my god. So yeah, I'm just gonna go now. Everybody stay safe, stay in the house, keep washing hands, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.